Everyone, it is Echo Music, and this is part 2 of my 911 Lone Star episode review for 417 titled Best of Men and 418 titled In Sickness and in Health. In this part, we are going to discuss how Carlos takes things into his own hands and how TK is there to support Carlos in everything.
Tyler, we're not going to use the word canceled, okay? It's just postponed.
You know it's not what I want.
Of course I know that.
It's just I don't see how I can go through a wedding right now.
I understand. But I'm not going anywhere.
You better not.
So here Carlos tells TK that he cannot go through with the wedding that week. I'm sure it sucks for TK to hear that, but I couldn't imagine going through a wedding the same week as your parent passing away. A wedding is supposed to be one of the most joyous and happiest days of your life. And I'm sure Carlos wouldn't want it taken over because of his fresh grief of the loss of his father. His father who was going to be his best man. And TK, he may be disappointed, but he loves Carlos so much and he will be there for him through it all. He's not going anywhere. That part when TK said that and Carlos said, "You better not," broke me.
I'm sorry.
And now I'm stressing out because I have to call everybody on the guest list and try to get a deposit back from the florist and the venue and the caterer, and I have no idea where I put the DJ's number.
You don't have to deal with this right now. There's nobody that you have to call today.
Yes, I do, Dad. I don't know if we'll get our money back. We were supposed to get married in 5 days.
I'm aware. Let me handle it.
Really? You would do that?
Yeah, come on. Hand it over. Let me do this for you.
You know, you would have made an amazing best man.
I still plan to.
So in this scene, we see TK stressed out about postponing this wedding. The thing I really want to point out here is how much the tables have turned this season. For the first 3 seasons, we mainly saw Carlos there to comfort and do whatever TK needed. This season did like a complete 360. TK is being there for Carlos in his times of need. Between the secret dropped in episode 1, Carlos being taken captive by a serial killer, Carlos telling TK he might not ever be ready to be a father, and now with the death of Gabriel, TK hasn't ran, but he has stayed and been a huge support and rock for Carlos to lean on. I truly love that we got to see these different sides of TK and Carlos in season 4.
Why aren't you in bed?
Monsters.
Monsters?
I had a scary dream.
Oh, no. Hey, well, tell me what happened.
The monsters took me. They dragged me away from you and Mama, and you couldn't find me.
Oh, no, mijo. Well, that sounds scary. But you know what? Listen to me. Nothing could ever take you away from me. You know why? Because I would never stop looking for you.
You promise?
I promise. But you know what monsters are really afraid of? Kiki the koala. Because he would tear them up like what?
I get you collector suite.
So earlier, Carlos helped Andrea find Gabriel's life insurance policy in his desk. When Carlos went to put everything away, he actually found a false bottom drawer that kept a videotape, documents, and a burner phone. This is where Carlos realizes that his dad was keeping some sort of a secret. So here we see Carlos watch what was on the videotape. I didn't share the first part of the video, but that is where Gabriel confesses that he has uncovered a network of corruption with the APD and Texas Rangers. The part about the scene that really touched me was when a young Carlos showed up on camera. First of all, he was totally a little cutie. Young Carlos had this terrifying dream, but Gabriel comforted him and told him he would never stop looking for him. And Gabriel didn't when Carlos went missing in episode 4 of this season. Again, here we see Carlos realize that the image he had of his father wasn't what his father was. The video truly shows the love he had for his only son. And boy, seeing Carlos' face watch this video really was really sad.
So what are you gonna do?
I don't know yet. I don't know who I can trust other than myself.
I don't think you can trust yourself right now. You are exhausted and you are grieving. And trust me, I know that's when bad decisions could be made.
Yeah, but if I share this information with the wrong person.
What about Detective Washington? You can trust her, right?
Serena's not homicide detective.
Yeah, but neither are you. But she might know somebody, Carlos.
So Carlos takes his grief and turns it into action when he delves deep into solving his father's murder. And here we see Carlos admit to TK that he thinks he knows who murdered his father. The thing I want to point out here is that he is turning his grief into an obsession. You can see that he isn't sleeping and he isn't taking care of himself, and that this has become his only focus and he is burning out. But you will see that TK is there to still comfort him. And TK is also there to tell Carlos that maybe he should share this information with someone else. Like Detective Washington, she is very trustworthy. Unfortunately, Carlos does not take TK's advice, and that leads him to almost make one terrible, terrible mistake.
Gabriel's not here right now, is he? But I am.
No, he killed my father.
No. No, you have the wrong guy.
How can you know that? You called him?
I did. You're damn right I did.
Why?
Because you're not in the right frame of mind, son.
Owen.
I need you to listen to this man. He has something that he needs to tell you.
Owen, there are things you don't know. The Texas Ranger, they can be trusted. I have proof. My father, he's...
Your father helped weed out corrupt officers in 3 agencies over 15 years ago. And Gutierrez there helped him do it.
Well, Carlos faces the person he thinks murdered his father and holds him at gunpoint until he confesses. Can I just say that Rafael's acting in the scene was top notch? You can clearly see how Carlos has just lost his mind. Carlos is upset, he's angry, and he's obsessed. And there was so many facets to this emotion in one scene alone. Thankfully, TK came to the rescue. Well, not literally, but he did tell his father about what Carlos was doing. And that led Owen to talk to Sergeant O'Brien. And thankfully, they showed up at just the right time before Carlos would have killed him. Because as it turns out, that was not the guy who murdered Gabriel. He was undercover, helping Gabriel to weed out the bad guys. I'm a little nervous, though, after this incident, because what is that going to do to Carlos in Season 5? Is Carlos going to get reprimanded at work? Is this going to prevent him from moving up professionally? I mean, he held a man at gunpoint and he wasn't even on duty. And unfortunately, I would think that would constitute some sort of disciplinary action to be taken.
And let me tell you something about obsession. You may think it's sustaining you, that it's giving you purpose, but what it's really doing is just eating alive everything that is good in your life. And believe me, eventually, there's nothing good left.
But somebody murdered my father. How can I just decide to move past that?
That's the only way you can get past it. To decide to.
And forget about it?
No, you won't forget it. None of us could. But the brutal reality is that you might not ever know who did this. And if you can't make peace with that, then your father's life isn't the only one that gunman took.
After the incident, Owen and Carlos sit together and have a drink. I think this scene is really beautiful. Seeing Owen be there for his future son-in-law. I hope that we get to see Owen become this fatherly figure to Carlos now. The beginning of the season, I was very upset with Owen's character, but now I've really started to like him again. He reminds me of the season 1 Owen I loved so much. One that would do anything for his son. And here we see him doing anything for TK and now for Carlos. I also really like how he reminded Carlos that you have to push past this. Like, it sucks. It absolutely does to have your father taken away from you so violently. But you have to continue with your life. You have to move on and live and enjoy what life you have left. And I think Carlos took those words to heart, as you will see in the next scene.
You saved me today, TK.
You saved me first, Carlos.
And now I need you to help me keep from making the second biggest mistake of my life. Tyler Kennedy Strand. If you're not doing anything this Saturday, will you still marry me?
Carlos? Are you sure?
This is the only thing I'm sure of right now. Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I will marry the hell out of you, yes.
Well, they decided one proposal wasn't enough for us, so they gave us two. Here, even though Carlos is grieving and devastated, he still knows that TK is who he is meant to be with. TK saved Carlos from making one of the biggest mistakes of his life. And Carlos realizes that it would be another big mistake to just not go through with this wedding. And I think he also realizes that Gabriel would have wanted him to go through with it. So this is the end of the part 2 of episode 417 and episode 418 911 Lone Star episode review. Head on over to the link in the description for part 3. It's all about the wedding.